Fam, good morning. What is going on? Happy Monday. It is Kyle Henderson, Bama football on YouTube. Can I have a roll tied up in the comment box? Today is Monday. It is January 27th. I hope that you had an amazing weekend. I hope that you have started off today with some gratitude. I hope that you're going into this week feeling good, positive. And today on the show, we are going to talk about the NFL games that took place this past week. And you have several former Alabama players going to the NFL. One of my all-time favorites, Jalen Hurts, along with Devontae Smith. Look, the Chiefs aren't going to lose, right? It's set up for them to win. Okay, we'll hit on that a little bit. All right, the meat of our show will be regarding Mark Sears being benched and why I actually think it's a positive thing for Alabama's basketball team going forward. Okay. So we'll talk about that. Look, you know what's been amazing is to see some former Alabama players like Vinny Sinceri or Sha Deion Hamilton getting jobs in whether it's college football or NFL football. Like Sha Deion Hamilton, I knew that he would be a coach at some point in time, right? And now as a Lions linebacker coach, I remember when he got banged up and rather than kind of dwell and have self-pity, he got to like coaching his guys. So now he's the linebackers coach for the Lions, okay? We'll take a first look at Austin Mack and A.K. Deer. Please follow these players on their social media accounts. They post some great stuff. Austin Mack, clearly the dark horse in this quarterback race, right? He's 6'7", threw a touchdown pass this last year. When I said that on Facebook, people were like, yeah, but the ball was wobbly. Look, wobbly or not, it was a touchdown pass and was a hell of a catch by Rico Scott. Okay, and you got a first glimpse at A.K. Deer, who comes into a stacked running back room. How much are these guys going to have opportunities as true freshmen? I don't know, but I like to hype these guys up, and I'm excited about the fact that they put in work to be able to get here at this point in time as these guys start up the fourth quarter program. All that and more today on Bama Football on YouTube. Please let me know where you're watching from inside the comment box. Later in the day, usually around kind of the midday point, I upload these as podcasts, but all the news and notes right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Let's start off the show and talk about these Philadelphia Eagles. All right. So the Eagles going to the Super Bowl, and what you have right here is Jalen Hurts. I mean, thumbs up if you've been a fan of Jalen Hurts since he's been here, when he started out with the Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, it's so easy to root for Jalen. And I think a lot of that is because of the fact of how he handles himself personally, right? I think when he was here and what he had to go through, there's not a lot of people that could have dealt with the type of adversity that he dealt with. And I never saw Jalen Hurts go into a negative space. I never saw him complain. I never saw him put himself above the team. And one of the greatest things about Jalen Hurts is the fact that he was able to sit behind Tua that following season where he got benched, and he came up when the team needed him most, right? In the SEC championship game. That was probably one of the best moments that I've been here covering the team in terms of a guy. You remember this, right? When at the same field where he was benched, and we're going to talk about the benching of Mark Sears and kind of tie it all together. Chiefs favored by 2. What's up, Jarvis? I see you inside the comment box. Good morning to everybody that's here. Max, what's up, man? Marcus Cottrell, Daniel Adams. Man, we got a lot of fan funders. Damn, that's what's up. I appreciate you guys rocking the program and supporting us. Nicole, what's up? How you doing? Thanks for being here this morning. But you see what I'm saying? Like, look, the reason that the Eagles have an opportunity to beat the Chiefs is because of Saquon Barkley, okay? But let's not forget that Jalen Hurts, where he's at as a quarterback, he played lights out. He made some great throws against yesterday, right? And I think that when the Commanders were trying to go one-on-one, whether it was against Smitty or Brown on the outside, I mean, Jalen was able to distribute the football in such a fine way. And I know he's a little bit banged up, but the other thing that I like about the Eagles is, they have a bunch of guys. There was a time where the Eagles were just kind of drafting, like whether it was guys from Alabama or Georgia, right? But these two as well, like let's not forget these guys. And I know there's several others. Like I wrote down, we have a Devontae Smith, we have Landon Dickerson, Tyler Steen, Josh Jobs, Eli Ricks. I think that kind of lists them all. But as I've mentioned a million times, I mean, one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player, is Devontae Smith, right? Thumbs up for Devontae Smith, right? And how about Landon Dickerson? If you watch this game, this guy was battling through some sort of an injury. He's playing guard, but they moved him to center for this game against the Commanders. Man, like all these guys. And you know what? I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the NFL, but I do. What I do want to say about these guys is the mentality that these guys have. Let's just talk about the mentality because I know a little bit more about Jalen, Devontae, and Landon, right? Like when those guys were here. And the mentality that each of those guys had when they were here, like that. And I wrote like a 2-paragraph article on Facebook talking about the mentality of the Bama standard, right? And like what that means. I think if you were to go back and think about Josh Jobe, yeah, I appreciate you adding that. I think like Devontae has that mentality. Landon Dickerson has a mentality, that championship mentality that is the standard of Alabama football, right? You see what I'm saying? Like those guys certainly have it and still display it even into the NFL. Boris, what's up, man? I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, and you're right, man. It all starts with work and believing that timing will come to you. So, man, I love watching these guys. Look, I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a 49ers fan, but I do follow, these guys in the NFL. And it's amazing to see. I mean, look, this guy right here, Patrick Mahomes, it seems like a lot of the water cooler talk this morning is about that kind of things are set up for the Chiefs to continue to win. I don't know. Some of those calls that I watched last night, like, there was bad spots. There was weird penalties. Anytime the Chiefs are involved, it seems like things always work out for them. It's a rematch of a couple years ago, right? Jalen Hurts against Patty Mahomes again. Then I started kind of thinking about it as well. Like, look, we're looking at a quarterback that has the opportunity to win his 4th Super Bowl. Okay. So when I was thinking of like NFL quarterbacks and NFL greats, one thing that I forgot was that Tom Brady played in 10 Super Bowls. Are you kidding me? He's 7-3. Look, I feel that Tom Brady is still working on his craft, being on TV, right? Like nobody's like Tony Romo. I didn't know that Tony Romo was going to be like what he was on TV. My goodness, I think Tom Brady's still working to get there. It's interesting to hear his perspective, but nothing is like Tony Romo. Tony Romo basically tell you exactly what's going to happen before it happens. Terry Bradshaw, 4-0, right? You guys remember Terry Bradshaw for the Steelers. My favorite, one of my all-time favorites is, of course, Joe Montana, who's 4-0. Patty Mahomes 3-1, and then Troy Aikman 3-0. There's a couple other quarterbacks that I was going to list. One of them is, Jim Kelly's 0-4. Imagine that, right? You've seen the Netflix series on the Buffalo Bills, man. It's sad. And John Elway, I think, is 2-3, right? Oh, Daniel's like, Tony Romo makes me sick. Yeah, of course, man. Anything like Chiefs related. And look, it's kind of uncomfortable how much they shove like Taylor Swift, right, and Travis Kelce like at us. I don't know. It's like enough of that. Like that's their, but it's like a celebrity race, relationship. I'm not trying to see that. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Yeah, exactly. Jason's right. Tony Romo, they had to talk to him to tell him to calm down in terms of like explaining the plays because he was basically like spoiling the game for people. Anyways, Eagles and Chiefs in the Super Bowl. All right, let's talk about this. Okay, so you watched the game on Saturday night. I did as well. All right, so Alabama, most importantly, as a team, defeated LSU. I thought LSU kind of punched above their belt in that game, although all the teams in the SEC are good this year, it seems like. Alabama comes away with a victory by a score of 80-73. Now, the biggest storyline and pretty much what everybody is talking about today, this morning, is the fact that Mark Sears was benched in the second half of this game. Now, Coach Oats, after the game, never really went into details, nor does he have to. It's his team. What happens on his team, it's his team, right? But I started tying this into the fact that I think it really sends a message. And I don't think it sends a negative message by any stretch of the imagination. I think there's some people that might go to, I know Mark Sears' mother went to social media. Look, that's I don't even want to talk about that. That's like Facebook stuff. But what is fact and what is reality is I think that Nate Oats has sent a message to his team that, look, he is not afraid to do what's best for his team. Now, again, we have no idea why Mark Sears was benched, but it's Nate Oats' team, and nobody is bigger than the team. And Nate Oats, his number one job here is not to make friends. His number one job here is to win basketball games, okay? Win basketball games and put players that are performing at the highest level out on the court. And sometimes you have to sub out somebody for whatever, and that's okay, all right? Because look, just as Brian is saying inside the comment box, yo, Nate isn't playing. And you know what? I honestly think that will be the catalyst of the best Alabama basketball that we've seen yet. I don't know if it'll be up in this next coming game. They actually have a gauntlet here pretty soon. But look, you have to send a message. And anytime that you're in an alpha position, you have to make uncomfortable decisions. That comes with leadership. Your job is not to be friends with Mark Sears. Your job is to coach the team and to have the team perform at the highest level, whether that's at Coleman Coliseum, whether that's at Rupp Arena. Your job is to put the best players on the court, just as it's your responsibility to put the best players on the field. If you've played competitive sports before, you understand that sometimes the best player needs to sub his ass out, and he's not going to do that. It takes the head coach with the stones to do it. And it's hard to do it because people's feelings are involved. People are going to talk about you in a negative way. We don't even know what Sears was benched for. We don't. And honestly, this is a good thing in my opinion, because I'm willing to go out and say that Mark Sears will come back from whatever it is. I have no idea. I don't think anybody knows. But I think he comes back and he's like, yo, let's lock in. Let's get to work. I've been benched before. So what? Next game mentality. But I think overall, I think the players understand. They're like, yo, number one, we need to understand that we can win without Mark Sears. This isn't a one-person team. This team is way too talented to rely on just Mark Sears. Okay, now Alabama was going to win that basketball game whether Sears played or not. But I think it shows you that this team couldn't win because they are so deep. And these teams, like Holloway balls out. Phylon balls out, right? I don't think it's a negative thing at all. I really don't see anything. I really never seen anything negative around Sears. But I think from a coaching perspective, this was the right thing to do. It's your team, Nate. Your job is to win basketball games. And I was tying it into this, and I started thinking about this a little bit more, okay? I think that Kalen DeBoer, one of the biggest failures that he had this past season was not doing the same thing that Nate Oats did against LSU. You had opportunities to do this past season, and you failed to do it. Now, are you a failure overall? Of course not. Can you learn from it? Hell yeah, and you better, because everybody is looking at this and this, all right? There was plenty of times where Coach Kalen DeBoer could have substituted Jalen Milroe, not for the rest of the season, for a half, for a quarter, for a game, to get a reality check. Sometimes it's like jumping your battery. He never did this. He had opportunities to do this, and he didn't do it. So we hope going forward, when you have a quarterback battle like you do coming in, that you have the stones to play the best player to not make people happy, but to win games. And it's hard for coach. Let's look at this from another perspective, okay? And this is the world that coaches live in now, all right? If this kid is unhappy, he goes to the transfer portal. You have to be brave enough right now in the coaching world to be like, you know what? We can win without you. If development and understanding your place on this team, if this isn't the right place for you, there's another program, a transfer portal away. But this is how we're going to run things here. We're going to run things off development. But number one, we're going to put the best players on the field. And if you're not performing at the highest level, whether that's the third quarter or whether that's the start of a championship game, it's my job as the coach to sub you out. This is a team. And our number one job as a team is to win a national championship. And then I started tying it to this, okay? You know who had to do that? This guy right here. And this is why Coach Saban is the greatest of all time. Coach Saban was placed in one of the most difficult positions during that championship game because the quarterback that he had rolled with and kind of almost had the same thing going on with Coach Kalen. I think there was times where he maybe felt he should have played Tua Tagovailoa earlier in that season. Well, the championship was on the line, and they couldn't get it done with Jalen Hurts. Everybody remembers this, okay? Was it a difficult decision for Coach Saban to make? Hell yeah, I think this is something that was a difficult thing that he reflects on. But guess what? That's how you win championships, is being able to make uncomfortable decisions regarding your team for the well-being of the team. Yo, this is what you were paid to do this. Does it make people uncomfortable? Yeah, it does. Coach Saban had to sub out one of his favorite players, Jalen Hurts, because he wasn't getting the job done. And Tua came in and got the job done. And the job done, meaning this, raising the national championship trophy over your head as a team. As a team. And I would imagine that everybody on this team continues to have that high level of respect. And you see it. You saw it on the Pivot podcast, the way that these guys interact with Coach Saban, because Coach Saban, they knew and they respected him and they trusted him to make those difficult decisions. Nobody on the team is making decisions. You can't have somebody on the team running the team. The coach needs to run the team. That's how it operates. Period. And that's why Coach Saban is the greatest. And that's how you earn respect, is by making difficult decisions. It's hard, man, because people get upset emotionally. Emotion is not part of the team. The team mentality outweighs individual emotion. Period. If you guys think I'm like upset this morning, I'm not. I'm chilling. I feel good today. It's just, I had to talk about that in kind of that tone, because that's the coaching tone. That is the mentality that you need at this level, right? That is the mentality that we want to have for Alabama football. Yo, 4 losses might be normal to another program. It's not, that is nothing part of the standard here. Losing to an unranked team is not the standard here. Man, this coffee's hot. All right. But don't think like I'm like in some like foul mood. That's the truth. And that's something that we're watching. That is something that we are absolutely watching going forward, not only with Alabama basketball. I think Alabama basketball is fine and they're a serious contender. And I think whatever happens going forward, I think it's going to be positive for Alabama basketball. I really do. This is my last thing. I predict that Mark Sears, whether it's this next game or down the road, you will see him perform at the highest level. You will see this team continue to trend in the upward direction because of its depth, because of the schedule that they played in the beginning of the season, because of this gauntlet of the SEC. But most importantly, it's because of Nate Oats right now. And Nate Oats can make the difficult decisions, and he knows he has to, because he understands where he set the standards. Like, look, we're excited about a Final Four. We won a championship here. Okay. I'm going to say something else. Okay. And this is probably going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. All right. But I have to say it. You fans at these basketball games on courtside or, around, and I know the students are doing their best job. The Crimson Chaos, I love these guys. You need to give this team the atmosphere that it deserves, because these games are sleepy at Coleman. It's kind of sad to watch games at Coleman compared to other venues. I don't know how you fix that, but like people sitting down like with the arms crossed when it's like a 2-point game, that's not it. No energy. No energy. You want people on the court trying to touch you, like making it uncomfortable. I don't think teams that come to Coleman are uncomfortable. I really don't. does the atmosphere, can it get loud? Yeah, but it's kind of sleepy. All right. So that's that. All right, look. Thumbs up for Sha Deion Hamilton. All right, I want to talk about a former Alabama player that was just named the linebackers coach for the Detroit Lions, one of the hottest teams in the NFL, right? It's good to see the Detroit Lions where they're at. I'm not a Detroit Lions fan, like I said, but can you imagine being a Detroit Lions fan and, having the seasons that they had to deal with? Now, I mean, they're an elite team. I still can't believe that Washington took it to them in the playoffs. Whatever. Sha Deion Hamilton, real quick. When this guy was here, it was when I started covering Alabama football. Jay Smith, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Sha Deion Hamilton, this guy was a tackling machine. He was every single thing that you wanted your inside linebacker to be. But the number one thing that Sha Deion Hamilton had, besides his playmaking ability and being able to read and to react as an inside linebacker that we want, right, is he had leadership capabilities. And when those leadership capabilities came into play, of course, was on the field, but when he faced adversity as a young man, okay, this guy has, if I'm not mistaken, a knee injury, right? So he's sidelined. Did he stay in his room? Did he pout? No. Guess what he did? And you can go look this up. I remember this clear as day. This is what I do remember, is that he started coaching up the players. He was like, he turned into like a coach. He had his brace on. I think he had crutches, and he started like coaching up the team. That is a positive, right? Turning a negative into a positive. Something Coach Saban talked about all the time, right? You can sit and dwell and play the poor me's, or you can turn it into a positive. He turned it into a positive, and he started coaching up the guys. You got to respect that, because how many times in life something goes negative, you start, moaning, you start, why me, Bob? No, he turned this into a positive. It's amazing. You want to, he was just here a couple years ago. Now he is the Detroit Lions linebackers coach, right? And you look to DeMeco Ryans, right? The head football coach for Houston. You look at a lot of these guys starting to get opportunities underneath Coach Saban. But you know what? Within the next 15 years, everybody in the NFL or college will in some way, shape, or form have coached or played for Coach Saban. That's my prediction. Oh yeah, they know ball. How about this guy? Now, Vinny Sinceri was here before me, right? He played safety, but I'll tell you a quick thing about Sinceri. While he was here before me, and I understand he was safety, and this guy, a lot of people, very positive rating with when you talk about the Sinceri last name, right? So when I was here, the outside linebackers coach was Sal Sinceri. And kind of getting to what I was talking about earlier is that mentality. And look, while I have great respect for these coaches that are here with the Alabama football team, and it's another exciting year to see these guys develop. A lot of these guys are young, right? A lot of these guys are not 50 years old, right? I don't think that while these guys have like the energy and excitement and they have experience, they don't have what Sal Sinceri had. I'm dead serious. If you knew anything about Sal Sinceri or watched him coach, like this guy, I don't really know how to explain it. Like he had a different level of mentality that fed into the outside linebackers, that fed into the entire defense, 100%. I have no idea. Does anybody know where Sal Sinceri is? Right? Father of Vinny and Tino, right? I remember Tino was here working with the quarterbacks for a minute. I don't know where he's at right now. But man, Sal Sinceri he would get after his guys in a positive way, but it was kind of like that old school coaching. I don't even know if you can coach like that, honestly, anymore, because people are too soft. You can't take it. Oh, he's mad at me, right? So, Vinny Sinceri, right? Um, he is now the co-defensive coordinator with Florida, right? Working for another former coach that coached under Saban and Billy Napier, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, can you imagine, like, 10 years down the road, how everybody will be working or have played for Coach Saban? It's because they have that mentality. They understand what it takes to be great. They understand early mornings, late nights. If you want to be the best, there's no shortcut to a really good season. There's no shortcut to greatness, period. There's not. These guys understand it. They understand what it takes. Samuel, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Samuel asks, who is our quarterback's coach? That is Nick Sheridan. And offensive line coach is Coach Kapilovic, right? Each entering their second season with the Crimson Tide. Carlos, what's up, man? Carlos says inside the comment box, I can't wait until DeBoer prove y'all wrong doing it his way. And I think that is something that we are also trying to get comfortable with, right? Is a new way of doing things. And I feel that a lot of us, and I guess, you know, when you look to kind of the standard and what has happened, when you have something come in that is so new and you lost 4 games, it's easy to just be like, this doesn't work. That's why I'm excited to see what happens in year 2. Now, because a lot of these guys are DeBoer guys, right? Just imagine pretty soon there won't be any more guys from Saban. It'll just be DeBoer's guys. Speaking of DeBoer's guys, you have, I saw this, all right? This is the squad led by Ty Simpson. He took some of his boys out hunting, right? Look, leaders say, I recognize a couple of these guys. But Ty Simpson, he's had a nice hunting season. Have you seen this? Hanging out with the guys, building that camaraderie. But speaking of DeBoer's guys, you have first look at Austin Mack. All right, he posted this photo on his Instagram account. So please follow all these players on their social media accounts. Is there anybody inside the comment box that has Austin Mack as a dark horse to win the starting quarterback spot? We've talked about this before. I think everybody feels that it's going to be Ty Simpson until Keelan Russell is going to be ready. But there hasn't been a lot of people talking about Austin Mack. I get it. We don't know a lot about him. Limited opportunity. We need to see this guy actually play. The only time that I think we saw him play was against Mercer, where ironically he came in and threw a touchdown pass. But the thing about the touchdown pass, as we do, we have a microscope on every single thing. The ball that he threw had a little bit of wobble on it, right? And we didn't like the wobble. Look at that tatty ass. That's some nice art, though. Lil Ye feels he's the odd man out. Maybe so. But I'll tell you this. Coach Kalen DeBoer now has 2 quarterbacks that he specifically brought in. The first is Keelan Russell, right? Being the 5-star. But really, Austin Mack is the first guy that he brought in. Like, that was one of his guys that he recruited and then eventually transferred here to Alabama. So now he has, 2 quarterbacks that he feels can operate his system. And I'm sure with Ty's experience, he has confidence in Ty Simpson, as he said before. But I was just thinking, it's like nobody's really talking about Austin Mack. I don't know. I don't know this for sure. I felt that Austin Mack was really the 3rd string quarterback this year. Does it matter? No. But I felt that the coaches kind of elevated him above Dylan Lonergan. Now, I know Dylan Lonergan got in before Austin Mack, but I think that was more of like, you've been here longer. But in the reps that I'd seen at practice and whatnot, it seemed like Austin Mack was a 3rd string quarterback. So just my take. But if Alabama's playing a game this Saturday, clearly it's going to be Ty Simpson. And I know the biggest thing is if they don't fix the offensive line, and maybe they did, I have no idea, but it won't matter because if you have a glaring hole at the right tackle position, doesn't matter if it's Ty Simpson, Keelan Russell, or Tom Brady, you're going to get eaten up 1,000,000%. We also had an opportunity to see AK Deer. AK Deer, if you've had a chance to see his highlights, who would you say that he's comparable to? He's about 6'1", 200 pounds. It's a loaded running back room. In fact, as you know, they just took another running back from the transfer portal, right? Raging Cajun, Jalen Washington. So you have Jam Miller coming back. You have Richard Young coming back. You have Jalen Washington added. You have Daniel Hill. You have Kevin Riley. And then you have AK Deer. Who is the guy that didn't they have another guy? I already forget his name. He was committed from Michigan State, right? He flipped. He was like a 3-star. And then decided not to come over here. And then you lost Justice Haynes, of course. It's crazy. It doesn't even, as good as Justice Haynes is, I saw some transfer portal rankings and said Justice Haynes is the best guy going to Michigan, the number 2 transfer over. I don't even think it would have been impactful. Not hating on the guy because I really like Justice Haynes. I love his game, but that running back room is so talented. I honestly don't think it matters. I think, and the question is too, with all these running backs, how many opportunities are these guys going to have? Oh, Turbo Rogers was once committed to. No, the other guy, he was Michigan State. And then he committed here, and then he ended up signing with Michigan State. It was a really weird deal, right? Daniel Adams is Justice who? Yeah. So the running back room is talent. I'm just curious to see if it's going to be Jam Miller as the featured back, or if they'll continue to have kind of a running back by committee. I don't know. Do you think it'll be running back by committee, or do you think that Jam Miller will be the featured guy? I just can't wait to see more of Richard Young. He had a decent spring game. No, man, I think he's putting in work. What you don't see in this photo is there's bags underneath him. So he's working out in the indoor facility, getting in some chop, getting in some work. I'm excited about him, to be honest. Someone said on the Facebook page, they were he's too small. I don't think he's too small. To me, his highlights, he kind of read a balanced running back, right? I saw him even playing a little bit of quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. Really good speed. But overall, I can't see him having, 200 yards this year rushing the football. I just think there's a lot of guys ahead of him. And that's going to be the thing that you have to continue to fight, is making sure these guys stay patient. Like a Justin Okoronkwo, who just left from, to South Carolina. He's look, Alabama already had its starters. That is the biggest thing to fight right now, is developing the reserve players and having those guys, if they don't play, I'm scared to get invested into a Dejon Lee, who is so talented, who's a 5-star, but might not play this year because you have Damani Jackson coming back and Xavier Brown, right? So unless he can play that, Husky position, I don't know. You might have to just be patient and wait. And Carlos brings up a damn good point. Look, the defense coming back, oh my goodness. You could list off all the returning starters. I even think the amount that James Smith has played, he's another guy that is kind of like a starter coming back. So the expectations are once again high. They should be. I think this team has enough rat poison to propel them through the fourth quarter into spring football. And I think they let these false national perceptions on the team that they've lost it under the board, I think they pin those up in the locker room. And I think they focus on the development and year two. But there's a lot of questions about this team. There's a lot of questions about this coach, 1,000,000%. Army, what's up, man? Appreciate you guys. I'll be around for a little bit more. If you have a question for me, drop it inside the comment box. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I hope you guys are having a good Monday. Today is Monday, January 27th. I'll start with the defense. I think post your questions for me inside the comment box. I think one of the players that I'm most excited about on the defensive side is LT Overton. I was wondering what Alabama would do at that bandit position, considering that you brought in Kelby Collins, right, the transfer. But you have LT coming back, which I think is huge. And look, another guy that's probably going to have to be patient until we see him play is Keon Keeley, right? It's going to take him some time to get on the field. I think he's ready to get on the field. I'm curious to see what happens with him during this next transfer portal. Not to scare anybody, but there's another transfer portal window coming up after the spring season. As you saw last week, Alabama's A-Day is scheduled for April 12th, right? And then you have that another free agent window open, which is so ridiculous in college football. You're gonna have guys going to the transfer portal, right? Man, Keon Keeley. Yeah. No, Darren Jr., what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. 1,000,000%. Keanu Coat was a monster for me on the game as well. I think Keanu Coat might have won. I can't remember if he won the Heisman. I need to stream some games again with the new team, right? Carlos, what's up, man? He's saying, Kyle, who's going to be the Husky? That's one of the most important positions on defense. I mean, yeah, that's a good question. I think if Red Morgan can show enough development, I mean, he played there last year along with Devontae Smith. I'll be curious to see if they put like a Deshaun Jones there, who will be coming back in his second year transfer. Remember him from Wake Forest? I don't know if he can play Husky or not, but what about Jalen Mbakwe? If Jalen Mbakwe is going to be used as kind of a two-way player, can he play that Husky position? Because damn, I'm just saying, you have Xavier. Just hear me out, okay? Think about this secondary. Xavier Brown corner, Damani Jackson corner, Jalen Mbakwe, Husky, Bray Hubbard safety, Keon Sabb / Zay Mincy safety. That's a pretty good secondary to me, right? J-Beg, what's up, man? Make an offseason account covering the Stallions. I need to get up to Birmingham to watch a Stallions game. Caden and I, we follow the Stallions. It's, shoot, that team, it doesn't seem like they lose. But that's what I think about the Alabama secondary. I don't want to forget about Zay Mincy either. I was, I was curious to see which position that he would play, right? Like, because I think he's a versatile guy. He could play corner. Clearly, he could play safety. That's what he played against Michigan. And Mo Lindquist is a hell of a defensive. I don't think that Mo Lindquist will be here much longer. He's a head football coach in waiting again. Fred, what's up, man? See you here. Appreciate it. J. Cole's like, I just want to make it to the playoffs this season. And that I think is the new baseline, right? Like this year's baseline is just going to be get into the playoffs. We want to see you get into the playoffs. Fred, it's good to see you, man. Yeah, Daniel, I think so as well. Man, yeah, they've done some nice things at Protective Stadium, man, kind of going into that whole area of Birmingham, which is really, regentrifying. And the crazy thing is, like, you go to Birmingham, the things I loved about people in Birmingham, they love their music. And the food in Birmingham is amazing. There's so many top end restaurants there. Love going up to Birmingham. Chris Waltman started talking about the right tackle. That'll be something that breaks the internet next. It's kind of just like waiting for Alabama to get the right tackle, or if Ryan Grubbs comes, right? Yeah, those are things that like we're waiting and kind of wondering if they'll happen. I don't know. I haven't seen anything on Grubb. I really haven't. It's kind of just been waiting for something to happen. But I appreciate you guys being here this morning, live every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. And of course, as major news happens, the meat of the show, I think I might upload it individually, talking about Mark Sears being benched. And why I think it's a good thing. Honestly, I really do. I think the team will respond in a positive light. And I hope that at the end of the day, Coach Kalen DeBoer understands, and I think he will, and I think he already does. It's like the best player has to play, period. And that's why Alabama fans were so upset, is because you've been around sports, right? You understand that sometimes the best player needs to sit, and that's okay. It doesn't ruin anything. When you keep that player in, it kind of disrupts the team. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much, Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Uh, Practice gratitude. Be a good person, right? Enjoy your week. Be productive. It finally warmed up here in Tuscaloosa, but it's just a little bit rainy now. So whatever. I welcome the rain more than the 12 degrees or whatever that it was. All right, man. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Coming to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you.